your feedback, and then that could be sent to the council's group that we're working with together with Dr. Solul, Asma, Akras, and myself, and we can finalize a more appropriate agenda in that sense. But please share your voices and your concerns on whatever you would like to see presented.
There's a comment on the difference between advocacy and lobbying.
Yeah, advocacy and lobbying, basically, the things that you do while doing advocacy and the things that you do while you do lobbying are essentially very similar to each other. But there are two very subtle, very important differences between the two. One is when we do advocacy, the purpose is to spread a message over and make the message reach your target audience without necessarily getting involved in politics. Versus, while in some cases you do get involved in politics, but lobbying is specifically with an intent to cause a legislative change. Now, why is there an important distinction there? It's got to do with the status of 501c, the tax-exempt status that organizations have. If your organization has a 501c tax-exempt status and you engage with individual politicians and endorse some politicians or appear to endorse politicians, you could lose that tax-exempt status. So that is why there's a separation of the view you take to your activity. So the difference is in between basically what you're calling your activity. You would call it advocacy if you're a tax-exempt 501c organization, or you could call yourself lobbyist if you don't have tax exemptions and you want to cause a change in legislations directly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one thing I'd like to add is lobbyists are paid.
That too.
And the advocates are basically volunteers.
So we are doing advocacy. We are 501c3. ISNS is 501c3. And we do want to change the law, but we don't want to get into. We don't want to lose 501c3.
Yeah.
Any sisters? Any questions? I need a volunteer to get the mic to the sister.
I'm good, brother. Something I just need to know if you have either a web page or a link where if we want to give you our feedback, we could contact you via email.
Sure. I actually have, Amina has a feedback form.
This one here?
Right. If you can please fill it out. It's a few questions, very simple. Provide your email, and we will be contacting you with the answers and kind of introducing you to who you need to speak to individually at the state level.
Okay, but you don't have a link.
I don't have a link. I just have my email address.
Is it an easy one to be given out, or?
Yeah, it's Samreen, SAMREEN.KHAN at illinois-spelledout.gov. Type it.
Is that going to be?
Do you have a copy? I'm not. I wanted to talk about one thing as I'm here on behalf of the governor, is the income tax increase. And I've been feeling a lot of resistance from the community and from majority of the people that I've been meeting with, even non-Muslims. And I wanted to just kind of briefly explain why we are asking for this income tax increase. Is because we have a $13 billion deficit in the state, which last year I believe was about $11 billion. And we don't have appropriate revenue to help reduce the state deficit that we have. And this is actually because of the previous administrations. There's been a lot of mismanagement, issues, ethic issues with state contracts and such. And so we are asking for us to please work with our state legislators to encourage them to pass the income tax increase, because 1% of that will be going towards education, towards our state expenses for education. Because as you know, we've recommended to cut about $1.3 billion from our education programs here in the state, because we are not receiving all of our federal money as well for the matching. So it's very, very important that we have this income tax increase, because we're just going to continue this hole, and it's going to keep getting bigger. We're going to have to cut a lot more of our programs than we've already recommended for this year. Yes, that's my email address.
Still have 5 minutes.
Samreen, we are very proud of you. You did an excellent program today. And some of the new people who may not be knowing, Samreen is the ISNS graduate from here. So ISNS and all the people here, we are very proud of you, and hope you would success in your future work and everything.
Any questions, comments, final concluding? Okay. I would like to thank Sister Jignu Khan, who is ISNS current board member and also who heads the Women's Committee, for facilitating the scheduling of Samreen Khan's time.